Today, we are traveling back to an absolute pivot point in history, and that is August 1996. It was this truly remarkable month that somehow perfectly balanced boundless, sky's-the-limit optimism with some incredibly grounded, transformative realities that, frankly, built the foundation for the world we live in right now.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. 1. Science and tech frontiers. 2. Shifting global political landscapes. 3. Global rebuilding and recovery. And 4. Major cultural touchstones. Let's just dive right in.
Section 1. Science and Tech Frontiers, Discovery and Expansion.
You know, this month brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of discovery that was happening all at once. I mean, on one hand, you had scientists quite literally peering through microscopes at space rocks, hunting for ancient life. And then on the other hand, a digital explosion was wiring the entire globe together in real time. Let's actually zoom in on that number for a second. 84,001. Specifically, the Martian meteorite ALH 84,001. On August 7th, NASA totally stunned the world when they announced they had found possible microscopic fossils inside it. Researchers had basically discovered these tiny, tube-like structures that looked a whole lot like Earth bacteria. And look, while these findings were highly controversial and were never definitively proven to be life, at the time, it didn't even matter to the public. That announcement sparked this intense worldwide excitement and single-handedly reinvigorated modern Mars exploration.
But hey, while we were all looking up at the stars, things were changing at absolute breakneck speed right here on Earth. The modern internet was rapidly coming online. And you have to forget the high-speed broadband we have today. This was the era of those screeching dial-up modems. Email was quickly becoming a mainstream way to communicate, early search engines were just starting to take form, and tech companies were expanding everywhere. This digital growth laid the literal groundwork for the massive dot-com boom that was just around the corner.
Section 2. Shifting global political landscapes, conflict, and diplomacy.
Now, as that incredible internet expansion began shrinking the globe, regional conflicts suddenly started having much broader global reach. It is honestly staggering how concentrated these massive geopolitical shifts were in just a single month. You had civil war dynamics shifting in Afghanistan, a major terror declaration issued targeting forces in Saudi Arabia, and a historic peace accord being negotiated over in Chechnya. The world was suddenly way more connected, but because of that, it was also increasingly volatile.
Taking a closer look at that, on August 23rd, Osama bin Laden publicly issued a declaration of war against U.S. forces stationed in Saudi Arabia, and he actually faxed this 30-page document to supporters globally. At the time, believe it or not, this statement received fairly limited mainstream media attention. But looking back today, it is universally recognized as a highly significant, very dark milestone in the rise of global terrorism.
Concurrently, the situation in Afghanistan was escalating, and escalating fast. The Taliban continued gaining critical territory as government forces and fighters battled fiercely for control of key regions. This escalation drew a lot of international concern and directly set the stage for the dramatic regime change that would unfold in the region just a few weeks later.
But, perhaps the biggest diplomatic breakthrough of the entire month actually happened on its very last day. And that was the Khasavyurt Accord. Signed on August 31st, this agreement effectively ended the First Chechen War after nearly 2 years of just brutal fighting. It halted one of Europe's bloodiest post-Cold War conflicts. And while lasting peace remained elusive in the long run, at the time, this ceasefire brought some much-needed, desperate hope to a totally devastated region.
Section 3. Global Rebuilding and Recovery, Post-Crisis Restoration.
It's genuinely fascinating to look at the different types of recovery happening simultaneously back then. On one side of the world, communities across the Caribbean and the eastern U.S. were battling nature, engaged in massive physical cleanups from July's Hurricane Bertha. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, you had the incredibly complex societal reconstruction in Bosnia and Herzegovina following a man-made disaster. It was 8 months post-Dayton peace agreement, and international peacekeepers were working to maintain this fragile security while democratic reforms slowly moved forward.
Section 4. Major cultural touchstones, sports, and royals.
Early in the month, the Centennial Olympic Games down in Atlanta were wrapping up. These games were a massive global touchstone for everyone tuning in. They were remembered for some really remarkable athletic performances. I mean, who could forget Michael Johnson's golden shoes? Along with deeply emotional victories, and of course, tragically, the devastating Olympic Park bombing that completely shook the world. Then, just a bit later on August 28th, another massive cultural moment happened.
The divorce of Prince Charles and Princess Diana was officially finalized. The end of what was easily one of the world's most scrutinized royal marriages completely dominated global headlines everywhere, and it marked a definitive, permanent shift in modern royal history. So when you lay it all out, what is truly wild is just how hectic that final week of August 1996 actually was. I mean, in literally just an 8-day span, diplomacy, conflict, and culture all collided at once. You had a pivotal terror declaration on the 23rd, a massively publicized royal divorce finalized on the 28th, and a major European peace accord signed on the 31st.
We've covered the hunt for ancient life on Mars, the absolute explosion of the modern internet, intense global conflict, and massive cultural moments. It really makes you step back and appreciate the massive ripples this one single month created across everything. Which leaves us with a final thought for today. Looking at all these incredible shifts across science, tech, and global politics, which August 1996 event do you think actually had the greatest significance? Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this fascinating month in history.